Angelo Batio, and this is my signature guitar called the MAB1 Armor Flame. And what I wanted to do is have a guitar with 24 frets. I wanted big inlays here because when I look at the guitar and when I play, I don't have to look at it. Now I can close my eyes and play all night, and I do a lot of the time. But when I look at a guitar, I don't look at the fret markers on the side. I look at the frets. So I wanted bigger frets. Also, I didn't want the Mikey Ego guitar. I didn't want my signature all over it and my name all over it. I wanted this to be a guitar that other guitar players would feel comfortable playing rather than playing a Mikey guitar. And the neck is really, really thin, but it's slightly rounded so it doesn't have that classical guitar feel. And I wanted a little bit more wood and a little rounder than the typical super thin, flat shred neck. Large frets. The finish came about because I like history. I like all kinds of history. And especially armor. So I have in my house these suits of armor, small versions of like everything from samurai warriors to the Spanish conquistadors and Romans and Greeks, all this different kinds of armor. And when the graphic artist saw that, we were talking about it, we made this to be like medieval armor, and this is called chainmail. And that's what they used to wear underneath the suits of armor, kind of like bulletproof vests wear today. So it's chainmail, medieval armor, and then NASCAR flames, which is where we came up with the armor flame. We've got EMG pickups in the guitar, and I think it's a really beautiful instrument. It sounds great. Floyd Rose on there, 5-way pickup selector switch, but it's really not only built for speed. I think it looks fantastic, but when I talked to Dean about designing the guitar, this is what happened. We came up with this shape, this style. So that's the MAB1 Armor Flame. There was a magazine it's no longer around, but it was called Guitar One magazine, a big USA magazine, and they did a list of the top 10 fastest, best shredders of all time, and they named me #1, and it was in 2003. And you know, I never went out to be the fastest guitar player. That's not my goal. You know, people name me. I did not name myself. But I write for Guitar World magazine now. I've been writing for them for 1.5 years. And so I still, my columns in Guitar World every month. And they're the #1 magazine in the U.S. for guitar. But yeah, being the fastest to me is not important. I want to be fast enough to play what I want to play. That's important to me. The main reason Dean is such a big company is they have the distinction of having vintage guitars. And people say, well, what does that mean? But if there's companies that have been around 100 years, but their guitars from 30 or 40 years ago aren't worth anything. Dean's guitars from the past are worth a lot of money. The vintage, you've got to be a great company to have vintage stuff. Plus, he started off as a really high-end guitar company, a USA guitar company, and the ML, the dime bag guitar, that's a Dean guitar shape. They came up with that shape, and I think it's quality. And now, because they make super expensive USA guitars, but they also make guitars for people who don't have that kind of money. You know, you can buy a $100 Dean, and I think that's the reason. The quality's really high. The people at Dean are awesome. I mean, Dean, the founder, he's still with the company. Elliot, the owner, it's amazing. You know, it's just a really good group of people. I'm really happy to be. That's how they get the artists. I mean, the artists pretty much want to come to Dean now. You know, it's that good of a in 2007, I did about 115 shows around the world. And so I was on the road 250 days. This year, I'm doing a lot of things in addition to touring. Last year I not only toured that much, but I released DVDs, I released CDs. I mean, I'm busy. This year I'm concentrating more on studio work, so I'm trying to cut down the shows to about 80. But yeah, there's a lot of shows. In fact, next month I'm all over the United States, in Europe, and then in addition to recording. April and May I'm recording, but I'll still do shows. So about 80 shows this year around the world. That's what I'm looking at. If it's more, it's more, but a minimum of 80. I always do 100 a year, and this year I'm going to cut back a little. I get good tables in restaurants. But, you know what I like? I'd be lying if I said I didn't like it. Like, almost every time when I go to an airport, I get recognized. When I go to places, I get recognized. And I think it's good. It makes me feel that at least what I'm doing is being heard, and so that's what I like. Would I want to be like followed around by the paparazzi like Britney Spears? No, you know, I don't think many people would like that, but I do like the fame. I think it's cool, and I'm appreciative of it. I have a lot of times I'll be in airports, I'll see all different kinds of people. I get soldiers that are stationed, the military guys are like, dude, I have you in my iPod, man. And, you know, and I hear that a lot now because my stuff's on iTunes, and a lot of people, you know, get it. You know, it's very popular on iTunes. You know, we sell a lot of music through it. I'm a Gemini, which is the sign of the twins, and I'm lefty, but I always had that gift to be able to, for example, I play piano. That's a right-handed instrument. I mean, the world is right-handed. A butter knife in a nice restaurant's right-handed. Scissors are right-handed. So, you know, I'm a lefty in a right-handed world. That's just the way of the world. Cars, everything. So what I did was, when I was growing up, there weren't left-handed guitars available like there are today. You could get them, but you'd have to order them. They're not like, it's not like something where there's a wall of left-handed guitars. So when I started at 10, my father said, he goes, son, you would have an advantage being a left-handed person playing right-handed guitar, which is why I came up with this, because this is my strong arm. But it also meant this hand sucked. So I had to work really hard to get my picking technique. I worked for 2 years to strengthen my right hand to be as good as my left. So it was an advantage and a disadvantage, you know. But really, the only reason I played right-handed guitar, so there were no lefty guitarists at the music store in Chicago where I grew up. You know, so if I wanted to play, it was right-handed. That's it. Well, the music business is fun, and I mean that's why so many people want to be in it. But sooner or later, and I've talked about this with Dean from Dean Guitars, the founder. If you want to have a career in music, sooner or later, you've got to get your business head together. You have to, or else you're not going to have a career. And I mean, a lot of the younger bands, I mean, you take a band like Linkin Park, they do a lot of their own production, their own graphics. They're pretty much business people along with that. So I think people who don't find their business side in music have a really tough time. And if you're out partying, sooner or later, that's going to catch up to you. And for me, if I partied all the time, I'd lose my skill as a guitar player. I mean, singers that party all the time, what happens? You lose your voice. You know, what is given to you can be taken away. You know, so that's why I don't mix it.